Welcome back, familiar to Northside LDN, caramba. And today we've got Arsenal set to make two more signings after signing Calafiori. We're waiting for the announcement of Calafiori. We're literally, everybody already knows it's the worst kept secret. Calafiori will be signing for Arsenal. And Arsenal, apparently, according to Football Today, have confirmed, or their sources are claiming, that Arsenal are only going to be looking for two more players and they won't be in the striker position. Now, I feared for this when we didn't get Sesko over the line. I never understood why we wasn't in or linked very strongly to anybody else apart from Sesko. And since Sesko re-signed a new contract, I think it's RB Leipzig, it seems like all the talk about getting a striker in has died down. We've not gone in for Isak. We've not tried to tempt Ivan Toney away from Brentford, even though earlier in the season we saw that he wanted to. He was doing interviews saying basically, "Come get me. I want to leave Brentford now." And we're not. It looks like we're not going for Gyökeres. We saw Fabrizio Romano putting away those claims that Arsenal are in for. Gyökeres. The deal isn't imminent. We haven't put any money down. It looks like Arsenal are going to focus on two positions and two players that don't play in a striker position. Now, according to Football Today, these guys are saying after Calafiori is done, we will be looking at Mikel Moreno. We keep getting linked to this guy, Mikel Moreno. We keep getting linked to him as a player that Mikel likes. But then again, is it like Zubamendi? Because we were linked to Zubamendi for what, the last three transfer windows, and we've not got it over the line. Maybe Moreno is another Zubamendi, where it's a player that we're looking at, but we're not willing to put the money down. But according to this article, we're looking at Mikel Moreno. I've not seen a lot of him. I saw a bit of him playing for Spain. He looked decent in the system. Nothing amazing. I looked at him. He's kind of a DM that reminds me a lot of Onana. He doesn't really transition the ball like Partey. He's not somebody that's going to get is going to counter attack and hit teams on the break and start the counter attack for the front three like someone like Thomas Partey. He's somebody that would just sit back and shield the back line. And I thought that, to be honest, the better option is to go for Palhinha. I think Palhinha does that really, really well, but we've allowed him to get bought up. And this is why I always want Arsenal to be proactive instead of reactive, because all of a sudden, players that are better options get taken away. All of a sudden, it's harder to get these players over the line because we allow our rivals to come in, or bigger clubs to come in, like Bayern Munich and teams like that, to come in and take Palhinha away as an option. But apparently, according to this article, it's Mikel Moreno. He's valued at 20 million from Real Sociedad. And the second player is Nico Williams. Now, Nico Williams, obviously playing for Athletic Club. I keep seeing that Nico Williams is preferring to go to Barcelona. And this is the problem. We don't do well in bidding wars. The last time he was in for the same player as Barcelona was for Rafinha. Rafinha ended up going to Barcelona. We don't do well in bidding wars. And this is why I always say that I want these filhos da puta to be proactive. Para de gastar o meu tempo and be proactive and do what needs to be done. Ahí a mandar boca, we want this player, want that player. Just get the player over the line. Do what needs to be done. But this club doesn't do it. This club doesn't do it. But those are the two players. Those are the two positions that we've been linked to. Moreno and Nico Williams. I would say take it with a pinch of salt. I remember when the Euros was on, we were linked to Arda Güler. That's completely just gone. I don't know what's happened to that. Early in the transfer window, we was linked to Gyökeres. We were linked to, now we're being linked again to Ivan Toney, yet there's nothing concrete. There's nothing, the club clearly I think they're putting out these statements to see the reaction of the fans. If we don't buy a striker, what will be the reaction of the fans? And the fan base needs to hold the standards and say, no, we know what positions we need to strengthen. We know where we need to strengthen, and it's multiple positions. Yeah, we need to strengthen the midfield. Because if you look at Odegaard, who else comes in? If Odegaard gets injured, who else comes in and does as good of a job as Odegaard, if not better? Nico Williams is a left winger. He can play on the right, but even for Spain, he did most of his... No, he played every game really on the left-hand side. So is he really going to come in and challenge Saka, or is he going to be challenging Trossard and we're phasing out Martinelli as Martinelli had a poor season? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Or maybe Trossard plays on the right in competition with Saka. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make any sense. We need a natural right winger. I know Nico Williams can play as a right winger, but I think he's better as a left winger. And this is the problem. Like, we don't need another left winger, really. We got Martinelli, we got Trossard. For me, Trossard's number one. Martinelli can fight for his place, and we'll see. You know, give him a season to fight for his place. I wouldn't be angry at that. If he does another poor season, then we can look into moving him on. But we need to prioritize getting a right winger. We need to get another number 10. We need a deep line playmaker. You know, Jorginho isn't good enough. Fabi Vieira isn't good enough. All these players ain't good enough. ESR is not good enough. They're not good enough. So that is what we need to be strengthening. We also, I know that we've got on the left-hand side now, we've got Timber and we've got Calafiori. Both players, we don't know how they're going to perform in the Premier League. Let's just keep it real. So, I mean, Calafiori can play as a left back. We can also play as a centre back. But really and truly, we'll see. We'll see which position is best for him. We bought Ben White as a centre back. He was better as a right back. You know, as a centre back, Ben White was horrendous. He got into the team playing as, you know, keeping his spot in the starting 11 by playing as a right back. But we got Timber and we've got Calafiori on the left. And then on the right-hand side of our defence, we've got Tomiyasu and we've got Ben White. The problem is, Ben White's a good right back. Tomiyasu's injury prone. I don't even think he's going out to... he's not even gone out to pre-season because he's injured again, which is another player that's not reliable. And it's funny that people bring up how unreliable Thomas Partey is, yet Tomiyasu is always injured. Always injured. If we're going to be completely real, Tomiyasu's injured. Tomiyasu and Jesus are always injured when we need them most. Let's keep it real. When we need them most, they're injured. End of every season now, Jesus is injured. Why are we not moving him on? Tomiyasu, he's injury prone. Every time he hits good form, he gets injured. At the end of the day, if people are going to leverage, oh, Thomas Partey gets injured a lot, well, it's the same energy for Tomiyasu. We can't rely on you. We can't rely on you. And luckily, Ben White is actually very reliable and barely ever gets injured, which is why we can rely on him. And a lot of times it's okay. But Tomiyasu constantly gets injured. So for me, it's like, okay, we've got Ben White on the right. You can't play him as a centre-back. Tomiyasu isn't great as a centre-back. He's better as a full-back. Then you've got Calafiori and Timber. We don't know how good they are as centre-back. Problem is this. If we get an injury to both a right-back and a right-back and a left-back, yeah, who's playing in the centre if we get an injury to one of our to Gabriel Saliba? Who's going to cover? And that's the problem, because players can only play their position. They can only play one position at a time. So you can get multiple injuries during the season. If we get an injury to a right back and a left back, we have no one to cover the centre backs if they get injured, which is why I'd rather go out there and get another centre back. You know, if the club, I mean, I'm seeing starting 11s or Arsenal defences, everyone's putting Calafiori as a left back. So he only makes it into the team as a left back. Is he great as a centre back? We don't know. We saw a bit of him in the Euros. We don't know what his level is. I don't think anyone watches Bologna week in, week out. So we don't know consistently how great he is as a centre-back. We've seen him play 1-2 games and he's impressed in those games. We haven't seen him after a prolonged, like after a whole season to say, okay, we can see your level and how you perform week in, week out. The thing is, even if we use him as a centre-back, then we need another left-back. Because if we get multiple injuries to our back line, who's going to fit in? Zinchenko? Nobody rates Zinchenko, which is another one we need to move on. Kivior? It looks like we're going to get rid of Kivior. We keep seeing rumours of Kivior going. So at the end of the day, if we're getting rid of Kivior, we're getting rid of Zinchenko, which we should, because I don't think they're good enough. At the end of the day, if we get an injury to both our fullbacks and to a centre-back, well, Tomiyasu and let's say Timber, that are not in the starting line, they can only cover the fullbacks. So then who's covered the centre-back if the centre-back gets injured? I think we need to go out there and we need to address that. We need another player that can either play as a left-back, mainly as a left-back, or as a centre-back. Like I said, this can happen. We can get multiple injuries. You never know in a season. You can get multiple injuries and then all of a sudden we're scrambling. So I think that's a problem that we need another defender. We do need another defender. We need a deep line playmaker. We need a number 10. And we need a right winger. And we need a striker. That's what. A defender, Deep line playmaker, number 10, right winger, striker. We need 5 players. To say we're only doing 2 more signings is Arsenal doing the same merda that these maricas have been doing all the time. The bare minimum. We need more, and we know that we need more. We know that we need more. Everybody knows that the bench is not good enough. Plus, we're looking to sell ESR. We're looking to sell Nketiah. He's going to go on loan with the obligation to buy at the end of his loan spell at Marseille. Jesus is the next one that I wanted to move on to. Jesus is being linked with the Saudi League. Apparently, he's been linked with the Saudi League and a move away. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that one. But at the moment, we're seeing rumors from the football faithful. Saudi Pro League, Al Ali is interested in signing Gabriel Jesus from Arsenal this summer. And it looks like, yeah, I mean, that says everything. The fact that the Saudi League are already coming in for you, that just shows exactly where you are in your career. This guy he's just not it. We know that we cannot rely on Jesus anymore. We can't rely on him to be a finisher, to be a clinical goal scorer. You know, we never really could anyway. But the Saudi side, it says the Saudi side are seeking a replacement for Alan Maximan, who's been allowed to join Fenerbahce on a season-long loan deal. Al Ali are also considering Tottenham's Richarlison as a potential alternative. But yeah, they're looking at Jesus, and obviously Jesus, he's looking to fight for his position back at Arsenal. Obviously, Kai Havertz seems to be favoured in that striker role. For me, just cash in on Jesus, man. Just cash in on him. Like, if Al Ali won him, just cash in. The guy's injury prone. He's not clinical enough. You can't rely on him to score important goals. Can't even rely on him to be there for the crunch end of the season. And his performances have just dipped. You know, he was never a prolific goal scorer, but a couple of seasons ago, he was a lot better with his link-up play. And now it's just, he looks all over the place, if I be completely honest. So I wouldn't be mad to see Jesus move on. But then if you move Jesus on, you've got what? Nketiah, you're moving on. Jesus, you're moving on. Then all you have is what? Havertz. You could play Trossard as a striker, but he's not a clinical striker. Your options, all of a sudden, you barely got any options. So listen, if we're getting rid of, it seems to be that we're definitely getting rid of Nketiah. Jesus to the Pro League is still up in the air. We'll see. If you're getting rid of 2 of your strikers, you literally got 1 striker left. I don't see them. I think Nketiah ends up leaving on loan with obligation to buy. And then I feel like Jesus stays, and then we have Jesus and Havertz. I don't think that's good enough to win the league. I don't think that's good enough to win the league. I know that's not good enough to win the league. But this club is doing the bare minimum. You know, and I never understood how, you know, the only striker that we identified, that this club identified, is Sesko, when Dovbyk had a great season, when Ivan Toney's better than him, Gyökeres is better than him, Isak is better than him, even Solanke, bro, at Bournemouth has had a better season than him. I don't understand it. Once again, this football club doing the bare minimum, in my opinion, doing the bare minimum, and the fans will lap it up. The fans will lap it up. The way they treat the fans is absolutely disgusting. We're going away to America, and the ticket prices are absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Listen, I don't mind players leaving out on loan with an obligation to buy. I'm not too mad at that, because at the end of the day, I know, okay, they're here. Well, they're not going to be part of the team, and by the end of next season, they'll be gone. You know what I mean? There's an obligation to buy. They're gone. I don't really mind that too much, but at the end of the day, we need to get rid of these players. And I think it shows something that we're struggling to sell players without putting them out on loan. Tavares is out on loan. Do you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. Lokonga out on loan. Now Eddie Nketiah out on loan. Why can't we just sell them? We already know they're not good enough. Why can't we sell players? I don't understand it. Why are we struggling to sell these players? You got to look at the recruitment team, because we're not even getting back the money that we paid for them. You know what I mean? All our players are always undervalued. You know, not that they deserve big price tags or nothing like that, but why can't we even get back the money that we invested? We can't keep doing business like that. We can't call ourselves self-sustaining and self-sustaining model, but yet every time we make an investment in a player, we lose money on the investment. It makes no sense, and that's why we're always playing catch-up. To buy Kivior and to already be selling him is an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. We didn't buy him that long ago. but yet he's already deemed not good enough. It's honestly, it's poor. It's poor. It's absolutely poor. And this manager's been, I remember at the start, people were saying that, Arteta was integral. When we first got Arteta, people said he's integral to Sterling's development. Where's ESR's development been? Where's Reece Nelson's development? Where's Nketiah's development? Yeah, these players may not be good enough, but how come you not be able to develop these young players? How come none of the young players coming up from the academy are getting any game time? Which is why the striker Martins has left. Because what's the route into the first team? Under this manager, who have we broken through from the youth academy to get into the first team? Because I don't see it. And this is the problem. This is the problem. The youth academy don't have a direct route into the first team. I think we was one of the lowest teams. I think we only gave about 14 minutes to our youth academy players last season. Man United gave something like 3,000 minutes or 4,000 minutes or something crazy like that. This is poor. This is poor. We used to always use our youth to get into, the semi-finals and the finals of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup and see which ones sink or swim. This is how we brought through Chambers, how we brought through Oxlade-Chamberlain. This is how we brought these players through. Wilshere and players like that, Ramsdale and players like that. Like now, it's just like, what are we doing? We can't sell players for big profit. We barely get back the money that we spend investing them. All I'm gonna say is, under this manager, Saka doesn't break through into this team. Unai Emery gave him the chance. But under this manager, Saka doesn't break into this team because Saka was obviously very raw when Unai Emery gave him a chance and played him as a fullback and then transitioned him into playing into a winger. Under this regime, he doesn't get into the team. He doesn't get into the team. Where's Aziz? Where's Charlie Patino? Where's all these players that a lot of people gas up that they can do this, they can do that? Where's their chance? And I'm not even saying that these players are good enough. I'm just saying they're not being given a chance. And I already knew that when we sold Balogun, when we got rid of Balogun, when he had a good loan spell, why are we selling him? Yeah, the player, he wanted to go. You're under contract. Tough luck. You're under contract. Yeah, you got one season to prove yourself. Yeah, prove yourself to move up the ranks into, being the second striker or being the first striker. You did it in Ligue 1. He should have been given the chance. How many chances have Nketiah been given? This manager doesn't want to bring through the youngsters. Balogun had more of a valid reason to be given more time, than somebody like Reece Nelson. And people will say, oh, but he wanted to leave. Well, tough luck, you're under contract. You don't dictate what's happening because you're still under contract. We will dictate what we're doing. We should have got rid of Nketiah. We should have had Balogun as third choice. We should have went out there and got another striker. And then Balogun can prove himself. But we never gave him a chance. And we don't give youngsters a chance. We don't give youngsters a chance. And I'm not even saying, listen, youngsters have to prove themselves, but you have to give them the minutes to prove themselves. Giving the youngsters only 14 minutes for the whole season is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And listen, we could lose a gem. We've done it before in the past. We got rid of what's his name? We got rid of Gnabry. Instead of giving him a chance, we did the same mistake with Gnabry. We loaned him out to West Brom, never gave him any minutes, and then we loaned him out, and then we went with Iwobi, and we already know how it went with Iwobi. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy that I don't want to let another Gnabry, slip through the ranks. I don't want to, I'm not saying that we have a Cole Palmer in the youth squad. I don't watch the youth squad. I don't watch the youth team, but we could end up overlooking the next, Cole Palmer or the next, Foden or something, and we just let them go. Nah, listen, we're not Man City. We're not dominating the league. We've not done the treble. Like, some of these players do deserve minutes, and we can afford to give them minutes in the early rounds of the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. When you're drawing with teams that are like League 1, League 2. So I don't understand what's going on. I'm saying? I know players have to prove themselves, but they also need to be given a bit of faith from the manager and being given some game time. So listen, what do you think about Arsenal only signing 2 players? Apparently it's only a midfielder and a winger, no striker, no number 10, not another defender, not another playmaker. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, familia. Let me know. And without further ado, I'm out, familia. Love, love, love.